Welcome back to Final Trade at the Disaster Desk. I think the cost of card grading is going to plummet over the next 1 to 3 years, somewhere in that time frame, and I'm going to try to convince you to agree with me. There's this effect that happens in economics and technology where you can have localized deflation in little things. And it's hard for people to kind of grasp that right now because every time you read a financial article, it's talking about this wild money printing of 2020 and 2021 where the US Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, the Bank of Japan, and the Chinese Central Bank are all just printing money as hard and fast as they can. And what you'll get from that is this overall inflation on a high level throughout the economy. But when there's technological advancement in things, you can get localized deflation. And I'll give you two examples of this. If you were to get on the internet back in 1995, somewhere thereabouts, when AOL was one of your few options for getting on the internet, you would have paid $20 or $30 a month for AOL to give you access to the internet over probably a 28K modem. And the cost of the bandwidth that you were paying for was very high. And if you fast forward to today, you're going to pay a little bit more, but in an inflation adjusted price, maybe not a lot more than you would have back in 1995, but your speeds are going to be hundreds of times faster. And so the cost of bandwidth has deflated over the last 25 years. And similarly, the second example would be the cost of information as a whole. So essentially, the internet, search engines, they've given you the ability to access almost any information you want near instantaneously from your home or from wherever you are in the world. And previously, again, if we were talking about pre-internet, so just arbitrarily kind of 1995, you would have had to go to a library, mess with a set of physical encyclopedias, try to rummage through the index of those to find what you're looking for, hope that the information you wanted was there, or you would have had to see if your local library had copies of the specific technical journals for the types of information you were looking for, or you would have had to join some kind of physical mail-based enthusiast group. And, just finding the kind of information would have been much more costly in terms of time and resources and potentially travel to come into contact with that information. And so those are kind of examples of this deflation that you can see when technology enters the stage and has an effect on a market. And I think the same thing is happening right now with card grading. Obviously, you have two great examples. You have PSA acquiring Genamint earlier this year. Genamint, I'm not sure if they were a startup or an established company, but they were working on AI-based card grading. And then you have HGA, which is kind of a newcomer this year, who's also working on AI-based card grading. And I know someone will leave a sour comment about, oh, well, they took all mention of it off of their website, whatever. The reality is, when you get the humans out of the card grading, you no longer have to have a trained professional human who sits and agonizes over the card under a bright light, who spends human labor, which is costly, on the card, and who gives an imperfect result. And of course, everybody knows, if you go look at the population reports for PSA, you see 99999. You see hundreds of nines for a card, and then you'll see 10% as many tens. And it's not because it's that much harder to get a 10 than a 9. It's because people get the 9s and they crack them open and they send them back to see, hey, maybe the grader's having a better day this next time, and they'll give me a 10. Because everybody knows that human-based card grading is highly subjective, it's highly gameable, it's highly flawed. And when you get the humans out of it and it's all AI based, it'll be a better product. It's kind of funny to me that the companies say, well, when we get this AI stuff working better, we'll still have a human examine it. And it's like, no, we don't want that. We don't want a human in the loop on this at all. We want absolute machine based objectivity. And when that comes and you can take that expensive human out of the loop, you're going to see the price of card grading decline a lot. Because no matter how big the backlog a company has, when they get fast AI-based card grading up and running, the rate at which they can go through backlogged cards is just going to be astronomical. And eventually they will burn down their backlogs. And then what will they do to keep making money? they'll have to lower prices in order to entice people to send them cards that they otherwise would not have sent. And so this will bring the price down a lot. Now, you will have this kind of tumultuous period in the beginning when the first company rolls this out. So say PSA is first and they get good AI card grading rolled out. They really won't have much incentive at the beginning to lower prices, and they'll make awesome margins at the start. But once a second company gets machine-based AI grading, and a third company, certainly, they'll all have to compete to try to get cards out of people's hands to be graded. And I think this is going to take, 1, 2, 3 years because the systems need to be implemented. They need to take a cautioned approach to rolling this out, to making sure the customer is confident in the results. And you're going to see some really awesome things come out when it happens. People, I mean, one test I would love to do is just take, say, 15 cards, send them into grading house A, get them graded, and then crack them all open, send the same exact cards into grading house B, and then get them back and crack them open. And then you can actually objectively compare grading houses and say, hey, this is how they stack up to each other. And you can really do it at a price that you could afford. And because you're getting objective, supposedly repeatable results, then you can actually say, here's a long-term baseline of comparatively how grading houses stack up against each other. It's really going to improve the industry, and it's really going to bring the cost of card grading down. Now, there's one kind of problem this throws in there, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts about it. What will it do to the value of graded cards? Because if you can suddenly grade masses of cards for, say, $4 or $5 each, graded cards shouldn't command as much of a premium anymore. But there's another effect at work here. When you open a booster pack, you kind of destroy, or not kind of, you exactly destroy that gambler's premium that's present in the booster pack. So before you open a booster pack, you don't know, maybe it has the foil jeweled lotus in it, or maybe it has the Japanese demonic tutor. And after you open the pack, then you know, and the premium for the possibility of having that is gone. But when you're talking about raw and graded cards, you add the premium to it by grading it, because you take away the uncertainty of what it may grade as. And so you say, hey, this is a raw card, and you can have a lot of experience and you can guess what it'll grade for. But until you actually send it in and it comes back slabbed with a tag in it, then you don't really know. But once it's back with the tag and it's graded, then the uncertainty is gone and you've captured that premium if it's a good card. And so you'll still have that, even though the cost of grading it will go down. But I'm not quite sure yet what to think about the effect that will have on the market. And I'm interested if you guys have any ideas. Let me know in the comments, because I'm still trying to arrange my thoughts around that and what the long-term premium or discount for graded cards may look like. I'm just not sure yet. So if you like this kind of thing, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.